Now at this point what I'm looking at is the design in its totality, which doesn't tell me too much because I still am thinking how exactly did the author put this thing together. So what I have also at this point is I have a style sheet that it's the original style sheet of this thing, and I've basically manipulated it in two ways. I've taken everything out of it except the ID selectors, which we know just start with the hash mark or the pound, and you just pound and it's just one word, there's nothing afterwards. And the second thing I did is I turned all the relative links for the images to absolute ones by essentially pasting http:// csszengarden.com in front of the reference to the particular graphic. And what I was left with is this. But now, like I said, I want to start breaking this thing down. I want to figure out how all these elements come together. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I have all these different elements. I have a few of them, more than 10. And honestly, I'm just going to comment out, I'm going to comment out all of them and then start adding them in one at a time, right? So now the complete way to do that is if I do at the very top of the document, I could put / and then an asterisk right there, and then you notice that how all the text in here got grayed out, and basically I've commented out all the code in here, because what's in CSS, if you do a / and a pound, your everything that follows that is going to be commented out until you close it with a asterisk /. So here I commented everything out and I refresh this page. Okay, so here's the document completely unstyled. So the first thing I'm going to do is just see, let me figure out what container does. So I'm going to delete that. I'm going to just delete the comment that I put in there, the commenting out, and I'll put it right after container is closed. I'll put it so it's right above intro, and I'll put / and asterisk. Now the only thing styled now is going to be the container. I'm going to save this and refresh my browser, and okay, so what's container doing over here? When I look, so container all of a sudden from, let's see, the property, so I'm looking back at my graphic over here. I see container holds everything except these extra divs down here, and the property says I have a background URL of blah blah blah, yeah, of that Zen background. So this is what it's referring to. It's to the top left, no repeat. I have padding. So I have, what is this, top, so this thing goes, so padding goes, yeah, it's clockwise, so, top, right, down, left, so I have 175 pixels to the left of padding, I think. Am I thinking that right? I'm pretty sure I am. So let me just change that just to make sure that what I'm thinking is exactly it. So I just put another one. I just changed it drastically from 175 pixels, which I think is to the left, to 1175 pixels, and I'm thinking it's just going to totally, oh duh, right, okay, so I was going the other way with it in my mind. Alright, so it's 175, to the padding is to the right. So there we go. So this padding 175 over here from where the container's closed, and to the left 110. So this is just, so basically this padding is setting up the text so it doesn't fall into the places that it shouldn't. I have position as set to relative, so what this is telling me is that now, since the container is the thing holding everything else inside of it, the author set the position to relative so that when he positions things absolutely inside the container, it's going to be the absolute, like if you positioned it like 0 pixels to the top left, and absolutely positioned, it's going to be within the container. And I'm pretty sure that's right, because if I start looking down, I may see some, oh, look at this, linked list. I already see linked list is positioned absolutely, and look at that, top 0, right 0, and we'll get to that. Now, obviously, the thing that I do once I start figuring these things out is that I like to put code in for myself, so I know what I'm doing. So I'll always start it with not code, comments in the code. So I'll put /pound, and then I'll press return twice and do, oh, I said pound, but what I meant is asterisk, /asterisk, and then I'll do asterisk / and that closes it. So now anything inside of there I could put comments in, and from there I'm going to put, you know, exactly what the container is doing. Container is set to, yeah, relative, exactly what I was just talking about, relative positioning, blah blah blah. For the sake of this video, you know what I'm saying. Everything I just discussed about container, I'm going to write in the comments, because just because I know now doesn't mean I may not forget later. And now I'm not going to go through each one of these, but as I keep on working through this document, I'm going to do just that. So I put this in. Now container is the only active thing working. So now the next thing I'm going to do is have intro. Intro takes the intro attributes are going to be uncommented, so now they're going to be active, and I'll do /asterisk right above page header. So now when I save this, I know that this intro part, well, that didn't seem to do too much. So what does that tell me? Well, intro, when I look back at my graphic, it tells me that, this whole intro is going to be 100% width, la la la, and so on and so forth. And that's the way I'm going to keep on breaking down through this document, seeing what each div in the layout does individually, and just see how things all of a sudden start to be positioned, and then through there I'm going to start figuring out how the author did it. Actually, an interesting point right here is a quick summary. He clears it, he floats it to the left, and all of a sudden see how drastically the design changed. And I'm going to keep on going down, and ultimately I'm going to have a document. Now this is a document because I've done this before already. I'm going to have a document that looks something like this, and for each one of these ID selectors, I'm going to have, let me soft wrap this, I'm going to have a description of what each one of these ID selectors does in the document, you see? And that way, I start painting a picture for myself of the techniques that the author used to make everything, and when I want to do it for myself, I'm going to know the strategies that they took, and I could just implement it directly into my own code. And I mean, this is, it's hard to just completely make something by yourself, right? Just out of the blue, just to have it's hard, and that takes experience. And there's nothing wrong with taking someone else's code, as long, of course, as that code, as the copyright for that code is open source, and you're allowed to do that, because open source means take this code and manipulate it. Because, just because you're new at CSS doesn't mean that you don't want to get pro results.